Gluten Free Desserts, Healthy Apple Crumble. Hi, welcome to Believe It's Not Gluten, the home of amazing recipes for the gluten intolerant. Amazing because they taste so good that no one will know they're gluten free. Although this probably isn't quite as good as our normal apple crumble, it's still very nice, and if you're trying to reduce your sugar intake, you can still have a nice dessert. I prefer it with butter. It really is much nicer that way, but I do show you how to do it without butter too. So the sweeter the red apples you can get, the better. Don't peel them, just core them and slice them. You want to either slice them pretty thinly or cut them quarters in half crosswise and then slice them, because otherwise you'll have big pieces of skin in your dessert, which really isn't that good. Usually 1 apple for each person and then 1 extra. And into the pot with minimal water to cook them. 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup should be plenty. You don't want your apples to be too juicy for this, and they do make some of their own juice when they cook. So cover them, bring them to the boil and then simmer gently for about 8 to 10 minutes. You need to stir them a couple of times, as the apples on the bottom of the pot that are in the liquid will cook quicker than those on the top. If you have a pressure cooker, just cook them on pressure for about 5 minutes. You will have to add 1 cup of water in order to get them up to pressure, so they'll be very juicy, and you may need to drain off some of the juice for someone to drink. But I think they have more flavour this way, and the apple skins will certainly be more tender. You do need to cook them till they're nice and soft, so the skins soften as well as the apple. And once done, taste them. If they're nice and sweet but taste a bit ordinary, you may want to give them a bit of a tang. You can do this by adding a few raspberries or some lemon juice. It's good to do this, it seems to give them a bit more flavour. If they're not sweet at all, as these here, you'll need to add a good amount of raspberries to give them flavour and perhaps some sweetener, and there are some ideas for this on the blog. You don't want them to be really sweet, as this is a healthy dessert, but just enough so that they have some flavour. Once you're happy, tip them into your oven-proof bowl. Then for the crumble, turn your oven on to preheat, and if you're using butter, melt 62 grams of butter. I prefer to do it in a saucepan on the stove, but you can do it in the microwave if you like. So just get it half melted, take it off the heat and let it keep melting while you get everything else ready. You don't want it hot and bubbling when you add the flour mix. Once melted, add the rice malt syrup and the stevia, and then the flour mix, and stir until well mixed and crumbly. Crumble it over the apples. They can be hot or cold at this stage. If they're cold, it will just take a bit longer to cook. This crumble browns very quickly before it's properly cooked, so put it in the oven for about 15 minutes until the top is golden brown. Then cover it with a piece of greaseproof paper and cook for another 15 minutes so the crumble can cook through properly. If you're using coconut oil, it's the same process with melting the oil, adding the syrup, maybe some vanilla and the stevia now, or with the dry ingredients. It will seem quite wet and greasy here, but that's okay. But then you need to cook it before you put it on the apples, or the oil just soaks out of the topping into the apples. So break it up into crumbles on an oven tray and then bake for about 15 minutes until it looks cooked. Allow it to cool a bit, then break it up either with your fingers or put it into a bag and break it up. Then you can just sprinkle it on the apple and serve it, or you can put it back into the oven for 10 to 15 minutes after you've put it on the apple, just to let it all cook together a bit. So there you have it, delicious apple crumble with butter or without butter. Serve it with low sugar custard or ice cream and enjoy a guilt-free dessert. Hope you enjoy it. Please visit the blog for the full recipe and tips so that you can make this successfully yourself. If you like it, please subscribe to our channel below and give us a thumbs up. Make your comments or questions or requests here, or join us on Facebook. And please share our videos as much as you can. Thank you for watching, and believe it, it's not gluten.